Thank you for tuning in to George Washington Speaks. We've got a special behind-the-scenes time that we want to share with you. This last year, we did something we'd never done before. Every time we have appeared at the Northwest Colonial Festival and other events where there are drummers and fifers and redcoats and militia, there's always a colonial village involved in that, and it's peopled with 60, 70, 80, 90 people that dress up in colonial garb, and they reenact as though this is their life. And some are gunsmiths, some are surveyors, some are actually families that come there and they sleep in the tents, they prepare their own food, and they go about business as though it's a colonial village, and people just come in and visit with them. Every year they have an encampment where they just get together and then they get to know each other better. They have a meeting there and plan for the next year. And we had the great idea of going down there and meeting them in this setting, just us and them, and kind of talk to them about who they are, why they do what they do. And so we did that. Angela Simonsen joined us as our interviewer, and we had a videographer. We had Shane Simonsen, who is our creative director, and George, that went down in uniform and just got to see an encampment that they just get together as families. And so we wanted to kind of share what we observed there. It was quite an event. It's on the back side of a person's farm, and we had to drive off-road and go through their farm and then go some back acreage, and there was an area that all the cars were parked, but there were no people there. And so we're looking around saying, what? And so we kind of go around and peer, and there's the encampment in the back on this side of a river there that was obscured by the trees. So we said, okay, we get it, no vehicles here at all. And so we walked up there and were greeted, and the whole thing, there's tents and there's a canopy and table and chairs, and everybody going about their business and preparing food and laughing. And later in the day, they had a gun shoot that I didn't attend, but I know, Angela, you and your family attended there. So we just kind of entered in, and we got there right as they were having their annual meeting. And we got, the president was saying, well, I want to know what you want to see this next year. What is it that you like about what we do, and what can the Northwest Colonial Reenactors do for you this year? What a great time for us to get there. They'd already spent the night there, and just listen to the things that they loved about the encampment and what they were hoping to experience the following year. And so we listened to that, and they were talking about they just loved to get together as families and experience this. And in the interviews, they developed this more. And so, Angela, you did the interviews, and there were 5 of them. And if I recall, there was Wylan Joker, Tjoeker, and he was just personable fella. And then Mark Curtis, who is the president of the Northwest Colonial Reenactors for Washington for this year. And then there was a couple that have been with this for 20 years.
Long time.
And her father and mother did this. And so she's been doing this since she was a little gal there. Yeah. And of course, we looked around, and how many kids do you think there were there that was attending?
There were several kids and young people too.
And so it's a generational thing. So they were there. And then there was a military fella, Bill, and he had stories about guns and everything. And then there was a fellow that was dressed up as Iroquois Confederation. So that's kind of the backdrop. So what things impressed you?
How they got started into it, kind of what began their journey or influenced them into that, why they're still doing it, maybe some reasons why they haven't walked away or given up on it, and some of the things that while they're in that journey that they are pretty passionate about.
What type of things do you recall? I mean, this has been a few months since we've done this, but what can you think of one or two things that really spoke to your heart?
Yeah, I mean, they were all unique in their individual journeys and who they wanted to portray, how they got started, their own approach. But one thing that I noticed was this common thread throughout was their passion for living life out. And
Interesting.
I think what I mean by that is, how do you approach life? How do you live life? What does that mean for you? And for some, life is explained spending a lot of time in their hobbies or at their work. And for them, it just resonated pretty deeply to know about our history in America, and then to actually live that out in a real way with their families, camping without electricity, without some of these things, to know just, okay, we are people and we're here together. How can we enjoy each other's company? How do we make food together? How do we learn some more skills from each other in this community? And so their passion for community and for continuing to learn and grow in their own and to share life together was what stood out for me, on top of loving history. I think that was probably a big thing.
So Trish was teaching how to make buttons?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. She had her own class, and everyone had something to share, something that was interesting and fun that they had learned and they wanted to share with the group. And it was a very welcoming atmosphere and environment. I mean, I came in my regular clothes and everyone is all colonial. And I mean, head to toe all the way. And I felt a little uncomfortable at first, but they were so welcoming. And again, it was just a group of we're people and we're different, but we're gonna treat each other well. So
there was a couple of new people there that hadn't really done this before. Do you recall their comments when they were in the meeting?
Yep. I remember that they were interested, and they mentioned their own costumes maybe not being completely legit. You know, they're just getting going. Again, it was that feeling of you're welcome here. And there was a point in time when we started out that way and didn't know all the things or have all the things quite yet. And so it was this understanding of, yep, we've been there and you're welcome to be here and grow.
Yeah, and in talking with Mark, the president, he said that is a feeling and inclusiveness. He says there are people here that are on the opposite side of the political spectrum, but he said, we don't talk about that. We live together. And our friendships are formed on that. The other stuff, we're free to do that, you know, but this was the beginning, and we fellowship in that. So
yeah, same values. I think those values are strong, you know.
And he also mentioned this family that was just starting, and he says, we love to reach out and include and say, oh, well, I've got this. Do you want to use this? Go ahead. And also one of the members say, now they had ticket drawings, and the people brought in extra things that they had, and they raffled them off. And this fellow says, I buy lots of tickets, and whatever I win, I give away. I mean, who does
Wow.
that
Yeah.
before the end? So that was cool there. Now, I didn't do the musket shot. What occurred?
It was a lot of fun. It was a little intimidating because it was such a loud noise, and I expected a lot of recoil just because it was really, really loud.
Did you fire?
I did get to
Oh
do
my
that.
gosh.
Yep, I did. And Bill walked us through the entire process. Bill actually custom designs these old guns, and I loved his passion and wanted to share. This is how you do it. And it made me think about, out in battle that there was time that went by to just get ready for the next shot. So yeah, he walked through the entire thing, the ball,
Musket ball.
yeah, that went with that, and I hit the target, so that was fun.
Was it really big or was it small?
It was medium.
So did he actually load it to see how fast he could go?
It wasn't really speed at that point. It was just educational and
Okay.
really interesting. But I imagine if he was in some sort of competition, he would do really well.
I assume that they have those type of things. When you've got the British coming at you, and you need to load, fire, load, rip, gunpowder, tamp, and everything like that. If it takes 60 seconds, they're on you.
Yeah.
And so they had to do
Yeah.
that. But Bill would be professional at that. So that people, now they get a sense of what we experienced there. They look at these individual videos with the interviews, and then they'll get a sense of what brought each one of these people to the Northwest Colonial Reenactors, as well as they would welcome anybody that would want to come visit them at one of their events. You can go on their website, Northwest Colonial Reenactors, and find when the events are and meet them and talk to them, and you could maybe become involved if you really want to. And again, as I think you sense already, that they would love to have people that are interested in this
Yeah.
and going forward. So were there any other observations that you had in interviewing them?
For me, it was really fun and enjoyable to hear their story and a little bit of how they picture the future. I think it wasn't just, I like it, so I'm going to keep doing it. It was very much a community feel, and it was, families, because we get older and we want to show these young people some of the survival skills and some of the how to take care of yourself in some of those situations. And it's a really neat challenge to go camping and to not bring all the things that we think we need. And I really enjoyed the day, and it was an honor for the opportunity. So
And maybe they'll invite us back next year to do that again.
that would be great. And for each of those interviews, they did talk about, if you wanted to get more information about them directly or their part in it, that should be on there. So
The website. Okay. Well, thank you so much and this was your first outing. So
Yeah.
Thank you for becoming part of what George Washington Speaks is doing. And we look forward to other interviews.
I do too.
Great.
Thanks, George.
Okay. And thank you for viewing.